never done improv.
No, I actually saw it on stage when I was in my 20s. I'm like, "Ew," porque eran todos white boys with imaginary beer cans going, "Dude," and I was like, "Qué estupidez. I don't wanna do this. What is this estupidez?"
Sabrosura pa' ti que qué.
Hola, manis. Welcome back to Cafe Con Pam, where we share our stories over cafecito. El día de hoy tenemos no stranger to our show. Her name is Vanessa Codorniu. You've heard of her, you've known her. She's also known as Biz Bruja, and she is returning for her second time here at Cafe Con Pam. Vanessa is a bilingual Latina trailblazer in spirituality, wellness, and the arts with over 25 years of experience. She's not new. She's an acclaimed psychic medium, a hypnotist, an astrologer, and mentor who hosts the Biz Bruja podcast and Nacimos Mágicas. She's a proud improviser and actor. She co founded Los Complicados, created Cosmic Trash, and recently premiered her one woman show, Perra Puta Loca Bruja, at the York Fringe. Her work bridges ancestral healing, intuitive wisdom, and performance to empower communities worldwide. In esta conversación, you're going to learn how improv became Vanessa's unexpected tool for personal growth and community building. From feeling out of place in Pennsylvania to coaching 4 teams and creating the first Latino improv troupe in the state. Also, why legacy is about more than your business. Vanessa shares her perspective on creating impact through the people you train, the communities you build, and the spaces you hold, not just the website you leave behind. Y también how to balance building a successful business with living a full life, including her journey from working 7 days a week at double six figures to integrating performance, creativity, and play into her work. So fun. Always love having conversations with Vanessa. She's amazing. Let's dive in. Vanessa, the Biz Bruja, welcome back to Cafe Con Pam.
Oh my god, Bam, I missed you, I love you. I'm so glad to be back.
I'm so glad to have you back. I missed you too. We need to have a recurrent guest type thing.
Yes.
This is your second time at Cafe Con Pam,
Sí, sí.
and it's been changes. So before we started recording, just to give people some background and context, because we'll link the episode, the first episode that you were here on. But you've been doing this thing for a long time.
Mhm. I was raised in a spiritual family, like, I started reading at 16, and my parents kind of discovered it, and then put me out there for free to help people. Then I was like, I don't have it anymore. But I've been doing hypnosis 25 years. I developed a protocol in ancestral hypnosis healing. I have the School of Healing Artes online. I have 2 podcasts, English and Spanish. I've been doing retreats for years. So my spirituality, my way of life, then eventually became my business. It wasn't the plan though. A lot of people recently it became their plan. For me, it wasn't. It was like a lifetime of stuff of what I was doing naturally, and then it was like, "Wait a minute, people wanna pay me for what I do. Let's do it."
And you share a lot of that in the first episode that you came on. So
Yeah.
for those of you who are curious about your life, they can go back to the episode. But that's a very similar thing that happened to me. And I know we both know Ilona, so we often talk about this, how when you grow up in a spiritual house, it's just like it's normal, right? But then you go
Mhm.
out in the world and people are like, wait, you do like I learned about this, and you're like, this is all the things that I've been like I grew up with this.
Yes,
Why is it new? And
exactly.
so now it became your career. And then we had the pandemic, you got married, life shifted you.
Bought a
Yeah.
house. It's like
Transferred states.
doubled my business during the pandemic. I work 6 to 7 days a week.
Wow.
I made over, like, double 6 figures and more. But it came at a price, like, it came at teaching a 6-hour certification on a Friday on a Saturday, a 4-hour, seeing 25 people in a week. Like, I was really like this. Honestly, I don't like, I never really got, like, let's say, the media. There were people who just had connections and were labeled, like, the Latina spiritualist healer, but I didn't do it for that. It was an incredible time, and a lot of people who are out in California are my students.
Yes, for sure.
But then things changed too, and as you were saying before I interrupted you with my exuberance.
No, 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 precisely that, how during the like, you had been doing this business for a while before the pandemic, then, like, all of the things went online, and you got this incredible opportunity where you were like, "Let's leverage this." Everybody's online, you were already online, but let's just bring people in. And then, life changed, you changed places, but how, like, all the things. How did you shift your business?
So that only happened recently. So when I first moved here after leading a spiritual community for 17 years in my apartment and not even charging. So there were like 30 people squeezed into my apartment and my friends. And they'd be like, girl, this is my church. And they'd be like the Russian girl next to the, girl who left born again Christianity, next to the Haitian girl who's just been in the country 1 year. The diversity that I had in New York is something that you don't find in a lot of places.
Yes.
Then I got here and I was like, Dios mío, ¿qué voy a hacer? So I joined the Improv Theater, Harrisburg Improv Theater. And at first I wasn't comfortable. It brought up all of the spaces. Like, I'm like, wait a minute, I've been writing and speaking, and I've been hired to write. I think when I was in my 30s, I just targeted a magazine, wrote an article in their voice, and got sent $175 my first time out. So I wrote for Hola magazine, I wrote for Be Latina. I've been writing. It's not my main thing, but I was like, I write, I speak. I've been hired to speak for 18 years. And I'm like, "Eh." So I'm not fully. When I got out there, because I'm a big character person, but I started to notice. And so something made me stay. One, the community, and two, that it was helping me grow. And I think that sometimes I've seen these posts lately. I've already reached the mountaintop of my spirituality. I'm like, honey, you don't know nothing. Because there's always more, with spirituality or even business. You're like, I reached the 150th floor. I'm done. You're not, because now everything gets turned around.
Yes.
And so what wound up happening over the years is that I kept growing and growing. I've performed with over 18 teams. I am coaching currently 4 teams, like the first Black women's team, the first Latino team in Pennsylvania. I created a team that I would have never done years ago called Cosmic Trash, which makes fun of pop spirituality. We have ancestors and inner children and all this stuff happening. And then we went to the fringe with it and sold out audiences. And I would have never done it because I'd like, no me tomo mi espiritualidad seria. Like, I'm serious about my spirituality. And I wanted people to respect me as a healer, that I don't want. But then you get to a point where you could actually laugh about yourself,
Yes.
and also not me, but also the contemporary TikTok and Instagram, Insta astrologer, Insta numerologer, Insta human design via AI, ChatGPT. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, so then it kept growing, and this fringe, I just did a Harrisburg fringe. You won't even believe it. I worked with 5 teams, and I did 11 shows in 4 days.
Oh my gosh. Okay, but espérame.
Yeah,
Hold on. So how did you, like, why improv?
I'll be very honest, girl. I belly danced in New York 16 years ago. I was performing in front of 400 people. Okay. I was like, "This is a whole other life, honey." And I used to be in a band years ago. I've done a lot of things. And so when I got here, I'm like, "Oh my god, I don't like the belly dance." I mean, they're very nice, they're very sweet if you're listening. But it's just I'm used to my Latinos or my
It didn't
people
vibe.
where I'm used to, "Let's go," like I had a Dominican teacher, she took us to Egypt, and she was like, "Vamos, na, 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 na." It's not, "We're gonna go like this, and we're gonna let's
Sí,
talk
sí,
now."
sí.
So, and I studied in Egypt. So I came here and I'm like, oh my God, no hay nada. I don't want to throw an axe. I don't want to throw because they have axe throwing. I'm like, that's great. Maybe in October to prepare for Michael. I don't know. But I'm just like, so I went in, I did it because I've acted before. I've done a small commercial. I've directed, the New Yorker is very famous in New York. I've directed there, performed there years ago. So I was like, well, I thought I was gonna be una viejita when I go back to community theater. But I was like, I'm gonna do this now, whatever this is. And that's what
So
happened.
you had never done improv?
No, I actually saw it on stage when I was in my 20s. I'm like, ew, porque eran todos white boys with imaginary beer cans going, dude. And I was like, qué estupidez. I don't want to do this. What is this estupidez? And I can tell you that it's been one of a very powerful thing, because if you are a spiritual person, what we're evolving in spirituality is being present.
Mm.
And whatever you do, well, that's what improv does. After
Mm.
you can control the anxiety, being in your head, trying to think about what you're gonna do next, You're literally in the space listening to the person and discovering the scene together. No one's really you really don't wanna be like, "You're the mother, and now I'm gonna tell you what scene I have in my head."
Mhm.
It's and you're constantly saying yes, and.
It's a dance.
Yeah, and so it's a wild ride, and I think it helps you deal with the unknown. I don't know if you know astrology, but I have Pisces in the midheaven. And Pisces in the midheaven means that your career is spirituality, creativity.
No lo puedes evitar.
No, desde que era niña me decían: "Vas a hacer esto." Y yo, "No, I'm a Taurus, I need a job with a check." Because I lived alone since I was
Yeah.
21, in Manhattan and Queens, and, my parents didn't help, there was nothing, we talked about this, you and I too.
Yes.
So but then I was like, "Oh my god, I think improv falls under the umbrella of Pisces." I mean, Gemini too, but, being in the moment, inspiration, trusting the moment, completely surrendering. And so that's what happened, and then it hit me a few years ago when I created Cosmic Trash, and then last year, after 7 years, there were enough Latinos in the theater. So think about this, there's 80 active performers in this tiny theater. I had to wait 7 years till there were 7 other Latinos.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I'd be, like, grabbing them, "No te vayas, yo voy a hacer un grupo." And then not all of them speak Spanish either, so I'd grab them and be like, "Please don't leave," I'm like, "We're gonna do something."
Yeah.
So they laugh because, like, when I finally tapped them last year, they were like, "Oh, yeah, you told me this shit 5 years ago." I was like, "Oh, yeah?" They're like, "Yeah, you were like, 'I'm gonna do something, please don't leave.'" 'Cause, you have to go through levels of training to actually perform in the stage.
Yeah.
It's an art form.
Which I love that you mentioned that because I feel like sometimes and I think we're combining spirituality with improv, which is like such a it goes well. But I love that you mentioned the patience of it because sometimes people want like results así, or like I learned about I don't know shadow work and now I'm like the expert, and so this patience and this perseverance and just allowing things to be and like fall into place when they need to.
Absolutely, and the thing is this, being a Sun Taurus, and I'm a generator, if I know you've been studying human design a little bit, right?
I'm a manifesting generator.
Yeah, and, I'm a 3/5, right? And even sometimes people are like, "You must be a manifesting generator because I have expertise in many areas." And I'm like, "No, I'm just a generator, but I've been at it for a long time, whatever I do." And I think that we have to bring back the artisan within us,
Mm,
which is that the crafts person.
yes.
The person that takes the time to learn the thing and have maestría, have mastery. Because everybody, como dijiste, bing, bang, bing. And then I've seen a lot of people go online. I've seen a lot of people come. I've seen a lot of people come. I've seen a lot of people go. It's and
Mhm.
it's like, well, you should maybe get some expertise before you come online a little bit. So then while you're building the plane, while you fly it, you already are confident that you've done many sessions offline. But, what happened with improv is I created now a second business, Improv Unleashed, pero lo que pasó is, like, 6 years ago, because I've been doing 15 years of teen empowerment at the Bella Abzug Young Women's Leadership Institute. So every summer, I go in and I do intense training with them, and I just started using improv with them. So sometimes I'm doing 88 girls, by the way, and I come in and they're like, "Nah, Miss V, I ain't doing that. Nah, Miss V." They're like, "I ain't doing that." I'm like, "Give me 10 minutes, I'll give you the world." So within 10 minutes, I get them up. They're like and now they don't wanna leave by the time I'm gone, because 'Cause we're doing gibberish where you do, 2 people doing gibberish and then 2 people translating.
Okay.
Hilarious. So 6 years ago, I already started getting paid well. Then I was going into public schools to do the leadership training through Bella Abzug, Young Women's Leadership Institute. And Bella Abzug was a congresswoman and the first congresswoman and totally stood up for women's rights in New York and around the world and around the country. Entonces, I was like, let me do that. And so I started doing it for hospitals. I combined improv for resilience and
Nice.
went into a hospital to work with med students. Um, and I didn't just going into businesses while I'm still doing my hypnosis, while I'm still doing my training. But I also feel, and maybe I don't know if you feel like this, for me, I've spent so many years in the trenches and circles and hearing women cry and holding space. Not everybody does that. Some people do readings online and then they close the door.
Mm,
I've sat, and I sat with my Lakota teacher 18 years in Sweat Lodge,
yeah.
hearing the people cry, holding the people. That I think the universe said to me, okay, you did enough and you will still do it. holding people in their worst trauma.
Mm.
My ancestral hypnosis healing helps a lot of us break through the invisibility, the quiet, no hablar, no. But this is like emotion in motion, and it brings joy to everyone in the room.
Yes.
So I feel like era otra etapa. I was like, I've been so in the trenches with everybody in the deep, dark pain and also the joy of knowing their chart or getting a good reading or feeling free. But now I get to walk into spaces where people are like this. And then at the end, they're like, ah, they're like this. So it's been a blessing.
I think I would still say that it's the trenches, but it's a different kind of in the trenches.
Yeah. And I think what I got in the last 6 years, that ancestral healing also includes reclaiming our joy. And I
Mhm.
knew that already because I do retreats and I took people to Mexico, Peru, and all that in the last few years. But this is a whole new. You have people with depression, anxiety, ADHD, autism, whatever, all the neurodiversities. And we have to learn how to communicate with each other.
Yeah,
And if you have a person who has a very specific thing that they like to talk about and they're autistic and they're like going in deep on the fish or going in deep on the squids in the sea or whatever it may be, and you're playing with them, you also learn to adapt where you don't feel like you have to be quiet, but you don't have to be an expert.
for sure.
Because it's never about a subject, it's about relationship. So with improv, it's never about
Mm.
being funny or showing off how much wisdom you have. And the end of the day, it's about these two people. That's what we care about. And I think it also comes down to that in business, social relationship. It comes down to that in healing. You want to choose a healer that you have a positive relationship with, you know?
Yeah. So, how was it as you said as you went into improv and you were like, "I love this thing. It helps me bring the joy out of people." You got really into it. How did you manage your other business and how did you say, "We're still going to do this and we're going to do this." And now we're combining the two and like how did
Yeah.
that work?
You do that with Gemini placements? No, I'm kidding. Um, so,
Yep, makes sense.
I have a lot of Gemini placements. So in the day, because I've already it's gonna be 14 years that I've been working from home. So in the day, I book all my hypnosis, my readings, my sessions, right? I might book some Saturday morning, Sunday morning for people who are working. I might book 1 or 2. So I shifted. There are gonna be some nights where I'm coaching a team, and I get paid for that, you know, or I'm teaching a class at the Harrisburg Improv Theater. I teach level 1, it's an 8-week class, and I don't do it for the money there because it's not gonna be comparable to me teaching an $800 Akashic Records certification online, right? It's just not. And again, I feel for me, I don't think it has to be for everyone. As a teacher who has expertise online and also was in person before, because I've taught at borough community colleges and stuff too. I like to stay con la gente.
Mm,
And it is gente online. It is still people because that's an art too. Like I had 100 people attend one of my Nacimos Mágicas courses. You know what I mean? And managing all of them asking questions while still moving the class, sticking them in rooms so they could practice the exercise, bringing them back. But there's something about also for me being in person. And all of the people who do level 1 with me are like, this was not just a level 1 improv, like you taught us about life. For example, we do something called Armando, which is a monologue. When people go up there, they try to rush through it. I did this, I did that, I did this. I'm like, wait a minute. Life taught you, come on, we don't got time. Let's go. What are the bullet points? Life
yeah.
taught you 1 plus 1 equal 2. Let's go. In this exercise, you need to meander. You need to give us details so the people on the wall, your improvisers, can hear different things and be inspired.
Mm,
It's not supposed to be funny. If it is, it is. So you learn to take the pressure off communication. You learn to take the pressure off being perfect, though we never are.
yes.
And you learn to accept your weirdness because everybody's weird with you. And I can say this, which I was telling you, that I was at one point, people were like, "Do you want to present our team?" So this is already like 6 years ago. So yeah, 5, 6 years ago. And I was like, no. All I had to do was stand in front of and be like, I've spoken in front of 1,000 people, just so you know.
Yeah.
Like I've sold from the stage, right? So in New York, you pay to play, and then you guide people through things, and you talk about intuition. You're like, on the left, I have my assistant. They'll enroll you in a live in-person class at my office. On the right, you go online. Like, I've been paid thousands to speak. I've taught people online, and suddenly I'm like, "Ooh, I don't want to
Why
introduce
do you think so?
you." I think for me, I've always been passionate, and people have made fun of me for that. When you
Mm.
have big boobs and kind of big hair, and then you're passionate on top, sometimes people don't think you're smart. And I was in a
Mm.
debate team, and we were 86 in the country when I joined the whole group, and the coach said, "We're gonna be top 10 in the country." We were ninth. I was one of the 6 people that brought it there. I won a full ride to law school out of debate, and I was 3rd in the country with my partner. We beat out Yale, Harvard that year, but he didn't wanna take me even because Latinas don't win. Women don't win, it was back in the day, and I had a vision. Yes,
No.
girl. Yes, and I'm, like, llorando. I'm like, "Ah." I was in the grotto of the Virgin Mary at Marist College, ahí llorando with the fog. It was very dramatic. El fog, la Virgen, yo, Dios mío, Virgencita, ¿por qué? ¿Por qué? And then I heard very distinctly, "You're gonna be top 5 in the country with Tom, so you have to be at that national competition." And I'm like,
No questions.
yes. So I call my mom. I'm like, "Gotta get the money." They're like, "We're gonna get the," and I had to do it through a payphone. I'm like, she's like, "We're getting the money. We're gonna send you to Colorado." What was it? U.S. Naval or not Naval? It was like U.S. something, Air Force, the Air Force. And then I went to my partner, and he goes, "You're crazy." Real white boy from upstate New York. Freaking love you, V. I'll do whatever, but yeah, it's crazy shit. And I'm like, he's coming. And then I went to my coach, and I went in there like peleando. I was like, listen, I'm not like these other white kids who've been here 400 years. I wasn't even born in this country. I need all the help I could get. You got to take me. And he was like so scared of me. He backed down, and we went, and then we got 3rd in the country. So I've done all that. Like I've spoken so much in my life, Telemundo interviews, all these things. And then suddenly I'm like, eek. And I was like,
Yeah.
afraid to be attacked for being myself, right? Because online, people already have a respect. People are like, "How do you convince people to work with you?" I'm like, "I never do."
That's the best way to sell.
I'm so present. I did so many videos. I worked all over the country since 2016. I got very global in 2015, 2016. I traveled to Panama and worked there for a month and a half, sold out. Because when you're from another country and you go to Latin America, especially New York, you're a big deal, or California. Then I went to Costa Rica and did sessions. So I had done all these things. And suddenly I'm like, beep. And I had to question that. And I was like afraid to be attacked for being who I am. Also, very white environment.
Mhm.
People sometimes misconstrue that because you're light skinned, but I was like, it doesn't matter. I'm bicultural and bilingual. Well, I have some skin color privilege where people might not single me out for some things. I'm still someone who thinks in 2 languages and speaks. And in my home, I always speak Spanish with my family, not with my husband because he's Turkish. But I'm like, and here I couldn't even speak Spanglish.
Claro, porque no había.
No hay nadie. And so si uno sale, if you come out on a scene, I did it one time. I put my grandmother who wanted to act but couldn't, and they called her, "You'll be a puta if you act." So I put the bracelet on. I put her bracelet on, and I went out on stage, and I was like, "Hello, how are you?" And I did my thing. But then people were like, "Hola, señorita," and I was like, "No, we don't want that."
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So I think that it really brought out of like the wounding of, even though I've created such a space for myself internationally, even though I'm a successful online, my first year I hit 6 figures. Like I exploded in 2013, late 2012. It was Nobody was really like combining healing with astrology with hypnosis at that time. I've been doing it for years. So even you could be so successful and so confident and suddenly be around people who've never even left the state. And you could be like, "Ah, it was the weirdest
Right.
thing. And so what I started to pay attention, is that, a lot of Black women tell me, well, I'm a big online, I'm on stage because I had to be in my life.
Mm.
Some of them told me that, right? Because I've been talking because I'm writing about this actually. And then I see a lot of women and white women go like this and tend to the men in the group. And so now when I teach, because nobody brought this out, and I could see that it being awkward for a white male teacher to try to point this out. But for
Right.
me, I'm like, sweetheart, you're so powerful and strong. What happened when you got on stage with this guy? She's like, oh, I didn't want to be a bitch. I don't want to take over. I didn't, people with master's degrees, like educate, like they have careers. She's like, I didn't
Yeah.
wanna, and then the guy's like, please take over. I'm scared. You're making me go on the spot and blab, right? So they started to see like the white boys go, no, please take over. I'm scared. And so I've been bringing up this dialogue. with my people, with the people I coach. I'm writing something about it now because the wound of invisibility, the wound of being the outsider. I mean, honestly, I've been here since I'm 3. I still feel like an outsider sometimes, just to let you know.
For sure.
Even though I have a tiny bit of, like, Mexican lineage that would make us all part of this land anyway,
Mm,
I still, because I didn't grow up like them. I know you didn't either. Whatever them is. But here,
right.
it's particularly white here. I've never
Mhm.
lived in a space where everybody's mostly Dutch and German background.
Yeah.
'Cause in New York, white people aren't like white people here. They're still, "Hey, how you doing there?" I'm still coming from Ireland, and then there's the other guy, he's German background. You're dating him, and his family's all interested, and they're feeding you German food, still speaking German.
Right.
There's an
There
ethnicity
it's different.
in New York where you're like, it's so diverse. I dated a Polish guy whose mother also spoke Spanish, spent time in Argentina, and then we were cooking and making, right, entraña with, like, their Polish food. So, but here it's so bizarre, and I've met amazing people, but that's what came up for me, and that's why now I've been including improv in all my retreats for 6 years too.
Nice.
Yeah. So I decided to go official and create Improv Unleashed. And even now, I think we were just hired for something I'm calling Unscripted Courage, where I'm bringing in a team of BIPOC improvisers, and we're going to work with students to try to encourage courage when on jury duty and when witnessing racism and bias.
Wow.
I talked to some criminal justice experts. I did research and study to pick the specific exercises. So I'm presenting that in a week, and then I'm coming in with BIPOC improvisers, and we're going to work with, the white students.
That's gonna be so powerful.
It is. I was like, "Oh my god, can I do this? Am I up to the task?" But I was like, "Girl, you are."
I mean, she won the debate team, why not? It makes me think of I my work is on galletita culture and the 5 wounds that keep us underpaid, overworked, et cetera, and it's the wound of worth, the wound of silence, the wound of power, the wound of identity, and the wound of commitment. Like, as I'm hearing you say all the things and how, especially for women, things come up, I'm like, "That's the wound of worth right there. That's the wound of power right there." And I love your story when you share you've been doing all of this stuff and it was, like, not a big deal, but then you are in a different environment and those things came up, which to your point of, like, spirituality never ends. This is part of the work of, healing ourselves in so many different ways, and when you put yourself in different environments, they're unfamiliar, that's when you discover things and you're like, "Oh, wait a minute. That was that was hidden right there." I love this.
Thank you. It's all those things, and that's why I was like, I wanted to talk to you again. I mean, I wanted to talk to you also privately, personally, but because you're awesome. But I was like, wow. And so now I talk about it a lot. We've had, I was just in a bunch of media with Los Complicados. I really hunted the media down locally. I wrote them, I PR'd them, and I was like,
Well done.
it's the big magazine. I was just on Good Day PA in the morning yesterday, and the other day, and then they came to the theater and interviewed a bunch of us. And, the thing is this is like we're building bridges during a time where Latinos are, being put down, are being harmed, are being demonized. I think they've always been, but it's worse than ever. And that's why when we go out onto the stage, we come out dancing, we come out singing to Cafe Con Rom, Bad Bunny, and we're everybody's
Mm,
clapping, and we get stories, and you see the abuelitas. We even have a Spanish scene, which I translate. People love it. Like people who are not Latino love it, and they're like, my Irish grandmother was like that. So the point of creating the Latino was to, because it's not like you were getting paid to do gigs, but it's not like I'm going to be a millionaire. I mean, you never know, but it's more about the impact of and community, the impact to the Latinos here. And by the way, we were at the Hispanic Heritage Festival performing, and then Tito Puente Jr. was on stage this Saturday, and he
nice.
had a song called Complicación. So he called us up to the stage, gave us instruments, and there's a video. And I'm just playing this, and I don't know, I'm acting like I know what I'm doing. We're banging drums, we're acting crazy. And the whole song, he kept us there and kept singing Los Complicados. So, shout out to him that he supported us.
That's awesome.
That was wild. That was wild. And we're like just dancing. I'm spinning on stage, like, don't fall off the stage, girl. Don't fall off. And, so it's been an adventure, and I told them, I'm like, when I brought them in, I said, "We're gonna practice every week," which usually people don't do. We're gonna have a grand opening, which we did for Hispanic Heritage. There were like 70 people in this tiny theater, 3/4 of them Latino. Never happened before. Had never happened before.
Wow.
But we went on local TV, we pushed. And my message too is for Latinos, we're raised to work hard. Family, church, working hard. And then we're like, improv's for white people, theater's for white people. Yo no tengo tiempo para eso. And it's like, oh, but it's
Mm,
for us because 'cause we're so creative. Do you know what I mean? Everything is for us.
yes. Everything's for us, absolutely.
Everything, everything.
Like, I think of giving ourselves permission to take up space.
Yes, yes. And to that point, I performed in the Fringe with 11 shows. But I loved it. People
Yeah, that's why.
I'm like, "Look, I got to do it." I literally ran from one musical improv, changed my shirt to Los Complicados, ran into the other one, and then I had an hour break in between. I was in a fairy tale. My name is Cinderella. Name is Cinderella. It was a queer fairy tale. I was the queen, the benevolent queen. I was so happy. I did so many things. I did peace poetry in another group. And what I want to say too is like, I think that maybe when we get to a certain point in our business, we also get to reclaim parts of ourselves that we left behind.
Yes.
Right, so that's what I'm doing. Then I decided you're gonna love this, and I wanna talk to you outside of here about that. I created my one-woman show, Perra, Puta, Loca, Bruja.
I saw that.
I'm gonna tell you this. I did it like, "La perra, puta, loca, bruja," it's an ancestral whatever, "Maha," and it's gonna and then they accepted me, and I'm like, "Oh,
It's real.
oh, oh, I have to be alone? I'm used to being on the team. I have to be alone for an hour and a half." And I'm like, "Girl, you give speeches, you do workshops, you lead things." I was like, "You do stuff all the time. You lead whole weekend retreats and have only 2 teachers for an hour." I'm like, "But this is my personal life, las cosas that they told us not to talk about."
Right?
I was about to back out, and girlfriend doesn't back out of I just wanna let you know I don't back out. I have a 3.5. I'm a martyr, and a heretic. I just jump out there. I have to try things and fail and keep going. So I'm there like, "I'm gonna quit. I'm just gonna back out. I don't have time. And I was very busy." And then they send it, and they tell me it's September 7th, which is the eclipse in Pisces in my midheaven,
O sea,
the day of Yemaya, who I honor her. I've been honoring her for 20 years. And I'm like, "Oh, no. They calling me out." Ah,
ajá.
so I had to do it, and I'll tell you
O
this,
lo hace o lo hace.
y si alguien quiere escribir un one woman show, you should do it, porque yo lloré por un mes y medio escribiendo eso, lloré, lloré, lloré en mi computadora, lloré, lloré hasta 2 días antes because it was a story of my grandmother and how she didn't have worth, right, self-worth.
Ooh.
She would go, "Please, I work very hard, you don't see me in the room." You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Didn't read or write, was an orphan. My other grandmother, beautiful lady who didn't she was scouted for a big theater in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, to perform and be part of the acting troupe in the 40s, and everybody in her family said you'd be a puta if you went, so she didn't go. And what happened to
Oh.
her? And my mom, who was in med school, had to drop out to support her family, did journalism training. And what happened, how she was trying to get the serious stories, but they would get her like in the cooking competitions. And then she came to America, didn't speak English. And then de repente Univision calls her and they're like 1 week a month because they saw her on TV. She did TV shows in Peru and Argentina. But like, Peru was bigger, Argentina small. Radio, all this stuff. Before she was 26, all of this. No family money, by the way. Started her own
Claro.
magazine, no family money. And they called her, they're like, "1 week a month, we want you to go." And her whole family, my dad, were like, "No, you have kids now. You can't go to California 1 week a month to do news. Tú te quedas aquí." So I was shared the story of you'll be a whore if you do this. You're a perra if you do this. You're a loca. You're a bruja. And then me, I'm breaking all of that.
Oh my gosh.
People, they would laugh, they were crying, they were laughing, and I want you to all to know that I cried until the day before when I was still tweaking the script, and I didn't memorize it all. I had to shorten it because it was longer, with the laughter. I didn't
Yeah.
laughter into the script. Um, it was beautiful, and the day I woke up, I wasn't scared at all. I was like, "I'm gonna do this. I'm ready." And so it's been a journey. And so what I'm focused on now, I'm still working on helping people develop their intuition, but also reclaiming the aspect of themselves that they lost, whatever aspect it is. Also telling them own story and their business or in their life. But it's been an incredible experience.
That's awesome. So the your one woman show, you only performed it once?
Yes, and that was my tester.
Okay.
Now, pray for me, I submitted it for the New York City Fringe Fest. I
Uh,
have to shorten it to an hour. Oh, and I have my Dominican reader. She was the bruja archetype. So each of the ancestors is an archetype of perra puta loca bruja. And
nice.
she's the cup, honey. I used to have to go up to Washington Heights. It's a story. So I submitted it. I would do 5 shows in New York. I wanted to go to Hollywood, but Hollywood books out the Fringe a year in advance.
Wow.
Yes, so they opened up in January, February, but it's for 2026, so it's booked already. In February of next year, I'm gonna apply for 2027,
Mhm.
and I already have a theater here in a very wide area, so we'll see how it moves, and maybe I can get more media, but you never know, people might be interested. It's a pretty intense title. Maybe they'll be like, "What's that?"
Yeah.
What is I would like to know. But people came, let me tell you, people of all backgrounds came, and all of them there was an Iranian girl in the back crying and crying. She came up to me. She was still crying when she came up. She was everybody you talked about was a family member, you know?
I love that.
And there were men in the audience who were emotional. It was like, "That was my grandma, that was my mom."
Wow.
And so and I told my husband, I was like, "If people cry and people laugh and people question their own intergenerational trauma, the stories that shape them, I've done my work."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
So
How exciting. I wanna watch it.
yes. I mean, I'm hoping. I'm hoping I could bring them.
Come to San Diego.
I know, and the thing is, it costs quite a bit of money to mount a show, so I'm trying to go the fringe route, but if you know anyone, if anybody listening knows anyone,
Yeah,
I would be I wanna do it. I'm really it's here to be told.
totally. You're something like side note, you're the 3rd person that talks about improv to me. I know. Improv's been on my radar for a long time.
It's
And then
You would love it. It's so much fun, and I think it gives you hope in humanity. At the beginning of the year, I did an improv for healing in New York. All the people who it was me, just I rented a space, I brought people in. People who are my clients for everything
mm,
else, hypnosis, healing, intuition, all the things. They came because they're like, "Well, if you're here, must be something here for us." And them telling you, heads of departments in universities like Columbia came, people who are heads of like film and TV, like, my friends who are doing TV shows, people who homemakers, people who have a lot of responsibility. And next thing you know, there are amoebas on the floor doing this, just on the floor,
mm,
moving their arms, trying to move around, wiggle on the floor. Amoebas. And later they were like, I'm so shy. How was I a talking amoeba on the floor, squiggling around with people?
right.
It takes you out of your comfort zone and it reconnects you to the inner child and the playful side of you that could think of anything and create,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah. Doesn't have the pressure to be good.
And you know what? It's so interesting because sometimes people it's not particularly like funny in any way, but the way they're telling the story, like they go, well, and that face, you just start laughing. So humor has a lot of levels to it where it's not
Yes.
always the quick, sharp, articulate thing that gets the joke. I realized that I have funny faces and I make funny faces when I first started performing online and I mean, on stage and I wasn't talking that much. I was talking, but also just and I was making a lot of
Your
reaction
face
things.
was talking.
"Oh my god," and people were like, "Your face," and I'm like, "Oh my god, my face, oh my god," I was like, "Really? Ooh," you know? Made by telenovela.
Your
I'm
face
just
comes with
like
subtitles.
it's so interesting. But you should definitely, and I think this too, and I tell Ilona this as well and all my friends, like, it's great to be focused on your business and your work, and trust me, I've worked 7 days in my business. Like I said,
Mm,
yes, I made double 6 figures and more, but I was working 7 days in my business, and I had assistants.
right.
I had an assistant for 12 years, like different assistants. But my creation, like when I create a course, and I've created so many that
Mm,
and I have 2 podcasts and I talk to people and I feel like you need to have a balance, whether that's
mhm.
hiking or hanging out with your niece and nephew or improv. I don't have kids and I don't have family in the state.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, my family's in Miami.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, to me and what I also look at is there's also a way to leave a legacy, like, some people are chasing the dream of being super successful in business, and there's what's happened online is tremendous. I There's so many people now. There's like, I mean, there's deep fakes. There's all these videos talking about astrology that are not real. Talk about intuition. People don't know what's real anymore. Um, there's people who come and gone because it wasn't really for them. It was a path to healing.
Mhm.
Because everybody went from, oh, I took the Reiki class to now I'm going to be an expert. And it's like, why?
Right.
Why? I learned Reiki when I was 21 and hypnosis in my mid 20s.
Yes.
I'm still training. I did 6 initiations in the Inca medicine path and went to Peru while everything was happening in the pandemic, like, after the, 22, 22, 21, 22, 20.
Mhm.
So, the patience, bringing back the artisan, and then I tell people, though, there's other ways to have a legacy, like, I've already have a legacy, like, in New York for my circles that lasted for 13 years every month, right? Then I have the legacy of online of training people in Reiki and intuition and Akashic records and holding space, right? Since 2012, like, there's thousands of people who may not say my name, but I train them,
Yes.
and most of them do. Already they're out there. So what I'm turning around now and I'm looking in my immediate environment, and now there's these people who broke free of their chains of invisibility and worth and are taking up space on stage. So legacy isn't just your children, it's not just your business. Because when we pass away, maybe our website dies because we stopped paying it.
Mhm.
I thought about that the other day. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There are people that I know who passed away, and within a couple of months, their website's gone.
Dang.
So I'm just saying this, that everything is ephemeral, everything is transient. So to kill ourselves over a career or our business,
Mm.
and when because I've been in business for so long, I always thought, well, if I got into this conference, that would change my life. I got into it, it didn't really, right?
Yes.
If I mean, it did, it brought me some clients. Oh, if I got on Telemundo, Primer Impacto, this would change my life. Well, a little bit, but not really,
Yes.
because you change your life in the everyday way that you show up.
Mm. So good. Well, we could stay talking for hours, but tell us all the places and spaces where we can find you and what's next and anything you want to plug.
Thank you so much, Pam. I love you so much. So what's coming is Nacimos Mágicas at the end of October. It's an 8-week course. I've been teaching it like 14 years online. It's reclaiming our ancestral intuitive knowing. I really love it. We cover a lot of things. So go to
I will
thebizbruja.com.
have a link.
Yes. And if you're a company that's like, or a nonprofit, or even a small business that's like, I want to bring Vanessa to guide an amazing improv based leadership training and talk about these things and have us play, improv-unleashed.com. And if you'd like to bring Perra Puta Loca Bruja to a place near you, perraputaloca.bruja.com. And really, if you're somebody who's in the middle of a transition, if you're like, the life that I built is kind of disintegrating before my eyes, and I don't know what's new, what's coming up, I need support. I'm your person. I walk through, like, the deep dark paths of people changing and divorcing and ending jobs and loss. And so, as an ancestral healer, as a coach, as a guide, so I'm here for you. And you can follow me on the Biz Bruja, at Instagram, and all the spaces. So
Yay. Thank you, Vanessa. The Biz Bruja. Thank you so much.
you know what?
Bueno, that was my conversation. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to check out her first episode on Cafe Con Pam, episode 182, which is like so many episodes ago, 2020. That's the irony. When I was prepping for this intro, I went to look for the episode number. It was episode 182, and the episode released exactly, I mean, plus minus a couple of days, exactly 5 years ago. So this is how magical Vanessa is. That even her comeback to Cafe Con Pam happened to a T almost 5 years later. So definitely go check out that episode 182. If you can't search by number, depending on where you listen to, this is on the podcast side. Just search by her name. You'll find it. You want to know, if you're ready to go deeper, join the Cafe Con Pam supporters club. We get you additional episodes. It's a way to support the show. It's a way to keep growing it with us. We have the link in the description. The link in the description also to follow all things Vanessa. Y bueno, until next time, stay grounded, stay rooted, stay connected, y como siempre, sigue brillando.
Sabrosura pa' ti que